Jennifer Sims Murray, Judy McCarthy, Kathleen Skinner, Kevin Gibson, Marilyn Demers, Nancy Robinson, and I'm the chair, Michelle Stranges. As well, we acknowledge that St. Andrew's United Church is located on the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee peoples. This territory is covered by the Upper Canada Treaties. We are grateful. We commit to learning truth and acting in ways to bring about reconciliation. So now I will just do a quick bio for our speakers. So first we have Fallon Shaw, artistic by nature and fueled with a passion for social justice. She created and hosts a panel talk series in Niagara Falls at the Niagara Falls History Museum entitled Living Out Stories, formerly known as Coming Out Stories. Both series were created in mind for everyone. They are very educational. Fallon worked closely with the local business communities and government to fight for the installation of the very first rainbow crosswalk in Niagara Falls. Fallon believes in fighting for marginalized and oppressed communities with firsthand knowledge and experience, as she is a member of some of those communities. Ultimately, Fallon believes that everyone deserves to have a voice, as well as all are equal. And Justin was born and raised in Fort Erie, Ontario. After being mercilessly bullied throughout most of his adolescence, Justin found the courage to share his story online through a succession of cue cards. This video, released on YouTube in 2011, powerfully logged Justin's own personal mental health journey and opened a pathway of communication for others in need of support to reach out. In 2012, Justin founded the global campaign, Rise Against Bullying. So he can not only share his story, but use it to inspire people to be the change they want to see in the world. Having once been a child who regularly called the Kid Help phone line when he needed support, Justin is now the Kids Help Phone National Ambassador. Justin's message of equality, awareness, and acceptance has reached worldwide, with his video reaching 1 million views on a TELUS original Cyberbullying Against Bullying, or documentary, and has amassed over 200,000 followers on his social media platform, Rise Against Bullying. In addition to using his social media platform as a tool to spread his message of love and kindness, Justin now handwrites thousands of people across the globe through his Letters by Justin campaign. He reaches out to his followers and people who may feel alone or experiencing trauma or mental health related issues. For being such a consistent source of light and positivity during the COVID-19 pandemic, Justin was awarded a Niagara Impact Award. As a global influencer, community leader, and advocate for kindness, Justin has proven time and time again that love always trumps hate, and no one can dim your light if you let it shine, regardless of what life throws at you. So we will begin, and thank you, and we will begin with Fallon to share her story. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. So first off, I want to say, Justin, it's great to be sitting up here with you. I'm shaking a little bit. I have to say I'm a little nervous. Like Justin said, I've never been able to speak about what I'm going to speak about in a church. So it's growing up in a church and then doing this. It really is something special to be here, and to also be here with someone that I've worked with a few times and who I know is doing great things in the community. So I will start out, born in Niagara Falls, oldest of 6 kids, and my mother was very religious, and church was a really big part of our lives growing up. And I'm not complaining. Honestly, it was a community. It was something I really loved. The only problem was the type of church that my mom was going to was not an affirming church. Unfortunately, many religions, many churches are very against that, and it's not even, it wouldn't even be a question to do something like this. So when I was younger, I had been told a lot of things about homosexuality. I had been told, burn in the lake of fire, just a couple different things that you were told. And when you're a little kid, that's really serious. So as I was growing and I, started getting into my adolescence and started realizing that I was different than all the kids at church or in school, but I tried to hide that very much. I was an extremely closeted child and young adult. And I don't want to say that I completely blame church, but the churches that we were going to, like I said, they weren't affirming. And I was being told often that, the way I felt inside was wrong. And I wanted to be different. So as I got older, about 16, 17, I started to just go on my own way. Church, I realized we had different views. And one thing I really missed was that community that you have when you're in church. You have people that are always there, that always want to listen to what you have to say. So when I kind of went my own way, I lost that. And that void was really, I don't think I've fully filled that void yet, but I've got more time to do so. When I was told that I was going to come to this church and that what they wanted me to talk about, I was blown away. If you would have told me 20 years ago that I would be sitting on a stage telling you my story, I would honestly, I don't know. I mean, it gives me goosebumps to think about now. But at that time, I was hiding who I was the most. So once I stopped going to church and I started living a little more of who I was, it did cause some problems with my mother and I. It kind of took our relationship and put a little bit of a block in it because she believed that I wasn't loving Jesus and serving God the way that I should, even though I was still very spiritual and I still pray. So my mom ended up coming to this church. I don't know how it ended up that way, but a couple years before my mom passed away, she came here to this church and she loved it. The only thing she didn't love was the fact that it was, a church that was more affirming and allowed gay people, and she felt like God probably didn't really like that, but she loved the church. My grandfather, John Hudson, he was also a member at this church. He very much also believed against it, but it was because of what they had been taught. Now, people in a church like this, they're not being told that you can hate people. Like, I don't believe that this church has hate in it. I don't feel it. I didn't feel it when people were introducing themselves to me. And I think it's really important that not only this church, but so many other ones start doing this, because there are people like me when I was in the closet and younger that I didn't really want to live. I didn't want to keep living in this life where I wasn't accepted. And until I got out of that type of church, I realized that it's okay to be me. Not everybody hates me, and I don't have to hate me. And so I was able to come out of the closet at 23. That was also the same year that my mother passed away. I believe the reason I was able to come out that year was because she passed away. So that was really a struggle for me, because being able to come out was one of the best things I ever did. But knowing the things I knew and being raised the way I was, it was really hard for me. But once I came out, it was like a fountain that just didn't turn off. I was coming out to everybody and people at the grocery store, and then I was able to come out to my father. My father was not someone who was religious. He would say that the NFL was his Sunday church. Still going strong. But he told me when I told him that he always knew, or he thought he knew. And it was 6 months after my mom had passed away, and I had this urge that I had to tell him. And I didn't know how he would take it, but he did. He responded in a way that honestly was what I needed. And he said, "It must have been hard with your mom, because I loved her so much, but she had been taught, and she had been, it had been indoctrinated into us as well, that those people, like who I am now, you just don't, you pray for them and that's it." So I think it really goes full circle for me to be here talking to all of you when the last time I was here was for a funeral for my grandfather, who was not approving of affirming. I actually even was able to come out to him 2 weeks before he passed away. I wasn't able to come out to my mother. It wasn't something I was willing to do to her while she was suffering with cancer. It may have been a different story if she was healthy, but I knew that it was okay to let her go. But being able to do what I do now and speak and share my story and tell people, that it's okay, it does get better. Because when I was younger, I honestly didn't think it was ever going to get better. I always thought I would be not accepted. I always believed that I was defective. But that was what we were taught. So I think when I'm here, and honestly, I can't even explain, I'm elated to be up here and just to be looking out and telling everybody something that I never thought I'd be able to tell in a church. You don't know what it means to me, and I know it means a lot to Justin.
Absolutely.
Who's also a father, and he's got girls that he can tell about this. And, I had a few people reach out to me and say, "You're speaking at a church." And I said, I know. I honestly, I said, I'm not sure how it happened. And then I remembered my show, Living Out Stories, that I do with the museum, that I'm going into my 6th year. They just booked me again for another year. And just all the conversations that I've had with people. Justin's been a guest twice. The conversations I had with Justin, with just people from Toronto. I don't know if you know who Biff Naked is, but she even came out and I was able to interview her, and we just talked about what we went through, because we all had a common thing. We all had something in common. It was that we didn't think that we were good enough, and we didn't think that we were accepted. So to be able to be here and just tell you how important it is that you're accepting me, and you're accepting Justin, and you're accepting what we're telling you, and you're here to learn. And I just think, praise God for that, because this kind of stuff doesn't happen every day. And you all are being a part of history in my mind. I think the biggest part for me about growing up in the closet, knowing that, the church felt the way it did, I think now I feel like I'm almost superhuman to be able to go through that, because there was such a time where I just didn't think I mattered at all. And if you don't think you matter, you're not able to get up and talk. So it took a lot of healing. It took a lot of, just took a lot of faith that I was going to be okay, and I had to have some faith in myself. I'm going into the 6th year with Living Out Stories, and coming up in November, we're going to be doing something for Domestic Violence Month, which is something that affects, everybody in some way. And we're going to be talking to a girl that has gone through something like that, who was in a lesbian marriage. And most people don't even assume girls, they don't think that it's going to be like the same as a domestic experience with a man and woman. But this stuff really does happen. And these stories that I'm able to share with the people that come on my show, I just had one woman tell me that the show changes her life every time she watches it, because she didn't know these things, and she didn't understand these things. And it can be knowledge is empowering. Any type of knowledge can be empowering, but the type of stuff that I talk about in my show, I've never heard before. And I think if you're looking to learn and to understand the new generations, or even the old generations that are coming out now, I think it's really important to do the research and educate yourself, because it's all out there. You just honestly have to be interested in looking for it. I don't really have another thing to really talk about. I know we were going to let Justin get into talking, and we're going to do some Q&As. But I think I'll just let Justin
Okay.
talk.
I'm speechless, Fallon. For one, I'm so thankful not only to be on the stage with you, but not only for many years ago. You have done so much for our community with the 2S LGBTQ plus community by providing free events that are all ages. It's been very inspiring as well for me to be able to bring my two little ones and my partner as well to these events, and especially what you have done for the homeless with Chili Miss. There's so much greatness that I could probably take over right now and just spill on all the greatness Fallon Shaw has done. You give so many people an opportunity to speak and being able to share their stories, and I honestly am so blessed to call you a sister and a best friend. You are a world changer, never forget that.
Thank you.
It takes bravery to speak.
Thank you.
So, yes.
Thank you.
So hello, everyone. I am shaking, I am nervous as well, and that is okay. But as I was speaking, I do want to say from the bottom of my heart, you are worth it. You are amazing. You are talented. You are unique. You are beautiful. And those are things that I wish I would have heard more often when I was younger. Who am I? I'm just like you. A person who has a dream and goals to be something, but was told by many people that I would never succeed or be where I am today. My name is Justin Preston, and I am so proud to be the founder of a global campaign called Rise Against Bullying, and also being a national ambassador to Kids Help Phone. When I was little, in Fort Erie, there was not much support or resources. So when I would go to school, after graduating grade 8, I had told one of my dear friends that I had liked some boy in my class. And I didn't think when I was going into grade 9 that people would remember a whole summer break about me being that kid that liked somebody. So when I entered this high school in grade 9, I was late, and I remember opening these doors to this gymnasium. And as all these students were looking at me, pointing and whispering, I just thought it was because I was that kid that was late. But as the day became a little bit longer, I ended up realizing that everyone in my class and in the school had already known about me before I had the opportunity to even know who anyone else was. I was known as that gay kid, and I was the only one in my high school at that time. So with being in a relationship, being in public, holding hands, thinking I was in love, finding myself, it was really hard not only being verbally abused online, but actually physically being attacked wherever I went. Whether it was garbage being thrown at me, cars constantly driving past wherever I went, shouting very negative and homophobic slurs. It was like every day was my alarm clock of waking up knowing that as soon as I leave my front door, that I know that people don't like me, and I also have to remember while I'm walking to school that I either need to leave before 7:30 across the railroad track, or I have to at least be late and know that all the kids have already traveled to school, so I was able to arrive on a time that was more safe for me. When I was that little boy, I am not little anymore. I'm 29 years old. But why I do what I do is because I always tell myself that I want to be there for the 13-year-old Justin that didn't have anyone, that hid all of his secrets and everything that was going on at school, at my friend's house, in the public, and I never told my mom anything. If only Justin knew, as well I share when I said that I feel alone, I always had parents that were very loving, very supportive, and always there. My mom always said to me too, "Just, if you ever need to talk, I'm always here for you." But that little 13-year-old was too scared to say, "Mom, I'm gay, and everyone at school is picking on me. I don't want to go to school anymore. I have to go to school, but I don't tell her that I don't want to go to school." I just dealt with it. and I thought I can put it in the back of my head. But as the years became on, things became more tough. There was no gay straight alliances, GSAs. In high schools now, we would consider calling it a safe place for our youth to be able to attend in a group, knowing that you have a teacher or someone that you can look up to and be able to express on what's going on. Fortunately for me, I was so thankful that I had this amazing counselor named Julie Matthews. Every time that I felt lowest of low, and it was at school, I had that opportunity of being able to knock on her door and tell her what was happening. If I were to walk outside of it hurts. It hurt. When I speak, it comes from my heart. And a lot of people say, why do you always talk and share your story? Because I think it's something I haven't got over. It feels like it was yesterday. And hearing the stories daily from people that have been in the same situations that I once was in makes me feel like I'm reliving a horrible nightmare. Because it's been 10 years. I have started sharing my story online, not ever realizing a ripple effect that I would have created. And from sharing my story and starting a global campaign called Rise Against Bullying, it has been over 10 years. And I'm so proud of all the amazing work that has been done. But every day, I still hear, I read the emails, I see the articles, I have people reaching out to me daily that are being bullied for being different. Whether it's to do with someone's race or culture or disability, when I read these stories, it is so heartbreaking to ever feel that someone feels that they're discriminated or left out or picked on for being different. When I was in school, as I mentioned, there was not much of a safe place, but I had an amazing counselor. And I had to learn to kind of shrug things off every time I got pushed to the floor or every time kids tried putting me into lockers. I did have people that didn't just stand there and always watch. I always had that miracle person that would just come and save the day and kind of stop things from happening before they came worse. Growing up in such a small community, it was really hard. I didn't know who I could talk to, and most of my friends' parents, when I would go and hang out with them, they'd always remind me of, are you Justin Preston? I'm like, yes. Yeah, I don't want you hanging out with my son. Or, you can wait outside, and as I wait outside, no one comes out. I had this weird, phobia against me. A lot of my friends' parents didn't want me hanging out with their children because I was different. And I felt that. And I didn't like being different. I couldn't change who I was. Every day I woke up wanting to love myself a little more. But it felt very difficult when I would open up my front door and tell myself that I got this. I'm going to keep my head up. I'm going to keep my head up all day, and I'm not going to look at the ground. I am not going to hide behind my hair. I am going to keep my head up. But as soon as I would try, it was always a constant reminder of somebody kicking me back down. When I had the courage to share my story in 2011, I didn't think anyone was going to listen. I didn't think anyone could care. But I didn't realize the huge impact of me sharing my story online. And just like St. Andrew's Church today, from the bottom of my heart, thank you, every single one of you that are here, that are listening. Because for over 10 years, I have been all over Canada. I have been at many schools talking about me being different, not necessarily talking about my sexuality, but embracing the differentness and embracing others for loving themselves and encouraging one another. And I am so honored that St. Andrew's United Church has welcomed us today to be able to share our story. And this is the first time in my life, in my history, our history, of being able to speak inside of a church today. So I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Because when I had started Rise Against Bullying in 2012, I ended up creating this platform, not only for myself as I started sharing my stories in schools, but to start shining light on other people that are dealing with similar situations, whether it was mental health or bullying. And from their stories being shared, a ripple effect had occurred. And not only was Justin who's always reminded in his head that he wasn't good enough and that he wasn't worth it, he was taking that out of his head and telling every single person every day that you're worth it, that you're amazing, that you've got this, and that this world needs you. And by doing that, I ended up learning this magical feeling and power of helping people helps me. So I decided to take such a negative situation and all the horrible things that has happened to me in my life and turn that into a positive by being there for our young people and young adults and anyone in this world and our seniors that need some sort of help, being that friend. From sharing my story, I ended up being a national ambassador to Kids Help Phone. Kids Help Phone is once a hotline I had once used. When I was in grade 10, again, I didn't speak to my mother, and I wish I would have. But I felt like I didn't belong here. I listened every day to what people had said about me, and then I replayed it in my head over and over again. Maybe they are right. Maybe this world is better without me. I am not worth it. This place would be so much better if I wasn't here. And I had picked up that phone in such a desperate time of need when I needed a friend. And for them to label me as one of their national brand ambassadors from once being a phone user, a place that I went to reach out for help when I needed it, it's such a beautiful gift to have because every day I'm able to pay it forward and provide resources and tools for our young people and adults all across Canada. And that pride that I have with this title, it means more because even during this pandemic, they had opened their services not only to young people, but to adults as well through crisis texts. It is outstanding. I cannot believe I'm here, and I'm so thankful that I'm here. And to all of you beautiful people that had introduced yourselves, I thought that was the most welcoming and warming thing ever.
Felt very safe when we came in here, which
Right?
we weren't sure how that was going to feel, and I actually really felt very safe. And Judy was the first one that we encountered when we came in.
Right. No, I'm so
really
glad you mentioned that because as you know, we have had many opportunities of being able to enter facilities and venues and speak, and how many people come up to us and say, "Hi, how are you doing? I am so-and-so, and I'm so happy that you're here. Thank you," because this is what made me feel comfortable.
It doesn't really happen very often,
No.
as often as you would think. So, thank you so much.
So with taking this negative and turning it into a positive, I have been now writing letters by Justin for over 6 years now. Even during this pandemic, I had realized the value of what loneliness means, what financial issues means, what mental health issues means, the not having support in your home or not being able to be your true authentic self based off of who you are and other people's judgment towards you, especially those in our 2S LGBTQ plus community. Every day since October, I have been writing Christmas cards to people all over the world. Being able to have that one moment in life that you can go in your mailbox and forget about your debts and just have a card filled with confetti. I mean, a regular Christmas card.
I've received one before. It's pretty awesome.
A little surprise in the mail and a card that is personalized and addressed to you, reminding you that you are worth it, that you are not alone. And I've been carrying on this project for several years. And when I mean helping people helps me, imagine dedicating almost a month and a half writing and writing and writing, going into emails and spreadsheets and making sure cards are being addressed properly. I couldn't do it without my family with the stamping and addressing and the confetti department and then throwing the stickers in. And I'm just writing all the cards. It's sometimes you have to ask for help. And what I love about it is being able to sit back after it's done on December and every day someone posts online or sends me an email or reminds me of, thank you so much, I got your Christmas card, and it gets me every time. The only thing I got for Christmas the only thing I got for Christmas this year was your Christmas card, and I can't tell you how much it means to me because I really felt lowest and lowest of my life. That was why I don't stop writing my cards. This is why I dedicate my life every day reminding people that they are loved. Because sometimes, even myself, I have good days and bad days, and being that positive role model, I always show the best. But it's also great that I can share this with you today to say it's okay not to feel okay. And it costs $0 to be kind to one another. And I think that's why I always am just so kind, always. And I sometimes don't understand why there's hate in this world, or why there's judgment, or why we can't support one another. So many people are battling so many battles that we know nothing about. And once people are given the opportunity, like we are today, to be able to open up and share our stories and our experiences, it is such a blessing. And I couldn't have spent my day anywhere else than being here today, reminding all of you that you are worth it, that your mission that you are doing will succeed. One person can make a difference, but together it takes us to change the world. One thing I do want to mention is I am also very, very thankful to have connected with an amazing woman named Carol Todd. I don't know if any of you guys have ever heard of the case of Amanda Todd. She was a 15-year-old girl out in BC. Unfortunately, on October 10th, which is World Mental Health Day, 2012, Amanda had passed. And I am so thankful for Carol Todd, Amanda's mother, who is one of my dear friends, that had said I had a story to share. And she had told TELUS that they needed to fly all the way to Niagara Falls to film my story. With a documentary called The High Cost, Dark Cloud, The High Cost of Cyberbullying, it has reached now 1.1 million views. It's now being a resource and tools in schools and universities. And after 10 years of Amanda Todd's case, the man that had caused all this grief and all this blackmail and all this betrayal was finally arrested, and justice was finally served not only a month ago. I am just so thankful to be able to bring awareness to cyber safety, to bullying, to mental health, and to extortion as well. One person can make a difference. It takes us together to change this world. Again, I don't know how long I have to speak, but I am so excited to answer any questions anyone would like to ask.
I just wanted to say, like, this is probably, I've had a chance to speak at a lot of different places. This is my first time in public since COVID. I do a lot of online things.
Okay, that's awesome.
But I just want to say, like, this will be something that I will remember forever. This is it's a great event, and I'm very thankful for all of the volunteers that put it together. Yeah, feel free to ask us any questions. We are open books here for you. Six. Okay, so I believe because they didn't have any, so what happened after my mom passed was everybody kind of just let the hatred go. And it wasn't that my mom hated it, but she just was against it because of what she had been taught. So when I came out to my brothers and sisters, they were much more understanding because they hadn't really been indoctrinated in the same way that I was with my younger sisters. So actually, they're all very accepting. My youngest sister's my best friend, and I believe that she's going to raise her children, because of some of the things I've taught her, she's going to raise her children to be more loving and more accepting. So thank you. That was a good question.
Yes, I have two. I don't like using the word as a stepdad, but I am a parent of two beautiful girls. I have my lovely partner here. We raised, he's right here, right in the front. He doesn't like attention, but we have two beautiful girls, Taylor and Haley. Taylor is 10 years old and Haley is 12, full-time, full custody. Yes, they are a handful and I love them so much, but raising two beautiful girls as well and teaching them love makes me want to share. Last year, Haley was 11, and out of nowhere, she was really, really focused on Black History Month. And she was wondering why her school wasn't doing anything for Black History Month, which was February. And I thought it was really neat that 11-year-old wanted to learn more about history and diversity. As she said, Canadian history, Black Canadian history is world history. And when the newspaper had heard of this 11-year-old girl that was really pushing her school to do Black History Month, something to do with educational purpose, now that to find out that next year they're probably going to be doing a daily activity, day 1, day 2, day 3 journal that advertises some historical people in Canada.
That's awesome.
Young people is absolutely what scares me because I am getting older as time goes. And I will be passing my torch to this lovely, beautiful, smart, intelligent girl that has such a heart for everyone. And it makes me want to share another thing. Taylor, who I think was probably 8, 7, she had said I think she said to me, she said, "You're not filling my bucket." Or she said it to someone, and I said, "What do you mean filling your bucket?" She goes, "Well, when you say something kind, you're filling my bucket. And when you're not being kind, I call you a bucket dipper." And I thought that was the most cutest thing ever, going, "Bucket dipper," because you're filling your bucket with kindness. But again, I learned something from a young one. And I'm able to tell you guys today as the most cutest, right to the point saying.
I think kids are really amazing actually now, like the generation, they know everything, like literally though, now they actually know everything. Google is like right there. I think though, I'm really impressed. I know your two daughters and I've watched them grow into these little activists who just want to see everybody loved and no hate. And I feel like there's a lot of kids in this generation that believe that less hate is going to be better, and I think that it's good. And I love that you bring your daughters to things and you let them experience it, because they're teaching their other friends, and it's a chain reaction.
And that's one thing too. They're not here with us today. Usually they would be, but they're spending some time with grandma. But as me and my partner would go out to events and speak, Haley started saying, "I want to be able to come to these. Why aren't we coming to these?" And I'm like, "Well, honey, I'm speaking on, this." And she goes, "I don't care." She goes, "I already know this and that." She goes, "This is the bisexual flag." And I'm like, well, what? And she's telling me all these 26 flags, and I'm like, okay, well, let's not tell everyone I don't know all of them, because the rainbow, the new progress flag,
Yeah.
is new, right? And it represents everyone too.
And it looks like they actually have the new one.
And it's changed, right? So
yeah, more inclusive.
I'm learning myself. So like, as soon as I say something now, she corrects me. Like pronouns, it's they, them. You're right. Non-binary, you are right. And that's when it's like click, click, and it makes me scared because she's like got on it really good, and I'm just now behind. And then, sorry, it's just supposed to be question and answers. I was stuck doing, remember the conference for,
Yes.
it was an organization, Catherine's
Yeah.
thing? They wanted a slideshow. I didn't know how to make a slideshow. So this 11-year-old went onto the laptop and made me this beautiful slideshow so I can show to this corporate of people for a lunch meet. And I think I had to, I had your lovely wife as well edit it. But if it wasn't for Haley, I would have not have had this virtual COVID slideshow of being able to make a difference, which I still have been using,
Yeah.
doing online virtual stuff. But that's what I'm saying. Young people are so amazing, and
I
I'm
get
just,
excited when I think about what they're going to do.
it's scary. The young people are the difference in this world, and especially with them knowing everything now with electronics, it's crazy.
Yeah, you can't tell kids anymore that I used to walk to school uphill both ways. Because they're like, there's no place on this map that even shows that. Kids do know everything. But I actually do learn. I learned from my nieces. I call them nibblings. If you ever hear anyone say nibblings, it's a neutral term, so you don't have to say niece or nephew. And my nibblings, let me tell you, they always have things to tell me. And I just think it's great. I think kids are being treated better, and because of that, they're just doing better.
Right.
Judy. Of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll let Justin go first.
So, thankfully, with things that I've done in the community, you can find me at riseagainstbullying.ca or .org. But even if you search my name now,
Just Google the guy.
Justin Preston on Google, a lot of my information, contact, Instagram, Twitters, all the crazy stuff when it comes to a computer that you go on and you just want Google and you're just trying to find that one simple thing. But if you go on Google, you'll be able to find my email, or Rise Against Bullying would be the best way of contacting me. But you will find pictures and images and possibly the documentary, which is free and available on YouTube. It's called Dark Cloud, The High Cost of Cyberbullying. It's 49 minutes long. And it also features me in your lovely city of Niagara Falls, visiting the one area where I have to drive past every time. But 5 years ago, I told myself I'd never come back to Niagara Falls. Niagara Falls was a very scary place for me. And just wanted to mention, since I mentioned the documentary, but one of my friends from Fort Erie when I was 15 had lured me to Niagara Falls. And while I was here in Niagara Falls, I ended up meeting somebody that used to harass me online on a website called MySpace back in the day. And I got to meet face-to-face with this person who unfortunately beat me up at that Subway old tourism map place right outside the
Right on
liquidation.
Kitchener and Stanley.
Yeah, so that is featured on the documentary as well, and a couple of glimpses of the area I went to. It was a little hard revisiting, but again, with the strength of being able to see it so much while I visit Niagara Falls, it's the less pain that I think, and more of a documentary and bringing awareness now than pain and suffering. So, yeah.
Just like Justin, you can Google me and you will literally see so many things. And I'm happy to say it's all good stuff. But yeah, so I have a show at the Niagara Falls History Museum. It's on Ferry. We were doing it in person. We were doing something called Coming Out Stories. And then COVID happened, and we still wanted to keep the series going, so we moved it online. And I've kept it online because I've had a much better reach. I mean, I went from, getting 12 people to hear my story to 1,200. So all you have to do is go onto YouTube, City of Niagara Falls Museums, and all the videos are up there from the last 4 years.
That's amazing.
And what we're going to be doing, I think I said it was the domestic abuse for November. And we're going to be, giving out facts and resources about that. And we're going to be talking to someone who's a survivor. And I think it's going to be very interesting to listen to. So that's going to be on the 17th of November at 7 o'clock online.
And her stories are amazing. There's been times where I've registered and I'm cooking dinner, and I'm able to, the whole time I'm cooking, I'm able to watch you and other people again, it's just very inspiring, and like you get to really look into people's lives. You had a story of someone that was out of the country that was just immigrating to Canada,
Yes.
and when I watched that, it was so heartbreaking, but breathtaking, knowing that this person's able to now know that they're safe and can be themselves and be free, and it's inspiration. And
Her
that's
name
why
was Afisa, and she was from Uganda, and she was luckily smuggled out of the country and was able to come to Canada. And it was being able to talk to someone like that, like that's a story that I'll never fully understand. And I just love being able to learn things from these people that come and share their stories with me.
yeah, I just had to mention, you guys will definitely love Living Out Stories. If definitely check it out.
I just think it's so important to just try and educate the communities, because when I was younger, I was a bit of a bully when I was a little kid, and I was not always the nicest person. And, like that's kind of who we are when we're kids.
Right.
But as you grow and you change into the person that you're supposed to be, like, I mean, I wouldn't be doing this kind of stuff if I hadn't have had hard times growing up. And just like Justin said, like, I do what I do so I can be there for the 13-year-old Fallon that didn't have somebody. So
That's what it's all about. Just being able to uplift people instead of kicking each other down. We're here to build each other up. It's like building the community one brick at a time.
yeah, and we're in a community that, like, let's be honest, there's a lot of people that are suffering right now, and for different reasons, but there's a lot of people that are financially suffering right now specifically, and homelessness and all of this stuff. We just need to have stronger communities. We need to be taking care of the people that are not well. I also have some disabilities, so I'm in that group of people too, and I think we just need to start helping people, and not just because they're our family. Just help people, because we could be such a stronger community with that kind of love.
So true. That is so true. Yeah, it's okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes. How many have you?
So
Ooh.
far,
So right now, I have written, like as of today, only 98, but I started about October 26. And my whole life would be over, I want to say almost 10,000. I want to say almost getting to 10,000. I've been doing this 7 years, trying to reach a goal of 1,000. Most of the time I have reached that goal of 1,000, or I'm really close to about 800. But you make me want to go into my daily spreadsheets and calculate exactly how many. Right. Thank you. And I just thought too, it's the old-fashioned snail mail that everyone has all forgotten. So that's why every year I say, if anyone has any unwanted stamps that they're not using or collecting dust, I can use them at all
Cards,
for
too.
the postage towards the cards. And just by asking again for help, like I'm so thankful for some Christmas cards that have come my way and a little bit of postage, because every card is filled with love. And while I am dedicating middle end of October, and right now, November is that crunch, because I already have 607 people who have requested this year for 2022. And
that's beautiful.
I'm trying to catch up, and usually I'm like promoting a lot more, like sign up. So if any of you actually do or know someone that is struggling or doesn't feel that they're good enough or could benefit from just receiving a random letter in the mail addressed to them, just randomly saying that you are amazing, that you are worth it, and that you are awesome, definitely come reach out to me so I can send you a link online for you to sign them up. Um, I probably should have set an option to no confetti and yes confetti, but it was all supposed to be a surprise
Always
anyways.
confetti.
So forget I said that. But if you know anyone that could benefit from a positive card, please think of them and reach out to me, and I'd be more than happy to direct you to the list. Yes? Yes, right on riseagainstbullying.ca, there is a support button on there as well. And as you go onto the website, you will see there's some pictures of the letters and the cards that I have done. I can't wait to go onto the website and re-upload all the new pictures of having my whole living room filled with all the cards. But this, like last year, I had 893 Christmas cards, and I did a huge photo op of all the cards and stuff in my living room, which was great. And then 2 years ago, during the pandemic, we were told to the whole stay home order and do not leave your homes, and Justin didn't listen and turned that into, we're doing wellness checks. And I took my cards and I knocked on everyone's door in the Niagara region, as close as Dunville, I think we went all the St. Catharines, Niagara Falls, Thorold, Niagara Falls, with our huge list. I think it was 300 and something people. We knocked on all their doors, and I got to see so many people and got to check in. So that right there was the best benefit of the pandemic, feeling like a rebel, leaving and changing my gloves every letter I had and spraying myself with sanitizer. I probably smelled like rubbing alcohol time these people came, and I knew at nighttime when I was in sequence that I probably should go back the next day because people can't even see and they're like, who's at my house? What's going on? But thank you for that question. Anyone can go on riseagainstbullying.ca and press the support button.
I wanted to say one thing too about what you were talking about with helping and making change and doing little things. And you know, it really isn't something where you have to do a huge thing or be a public speaker or go out. It really is a lot of small things.
Right.
And if you can just do like little things here and there, I mean, you can end up making a huge difference, and especially when it's a group of people, like your congregation, which it sounds like your congregation is ready to be more open-minded and more loving. Because I mean, we all know like Jesus loved. I believe Jesus loves me, and I never stopped believing that. I think it's really important that we show the love that Jesus showed. I believe, you know, he spent most of his time with people that weren't even that good, you know, in most people's eyes. He was flipping tables over, he's hanging out. And I think it's important that we take those people that maybe aren't perfect and we help them too.
That is spot on.
Yeah. Oh. Any more questions? Can I ask a question, and then if anybody wants to answer? Do any of you have any feelings that maybe this isn't a good idea? Like to do affirming, to have church be affirming? Is there anybody that, do you think that in this congregation isn't really for that? Or was it pretty much a lot of people were interested in being that way? Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
That is amazing, guys.
Now that's what I wanted to hear. Thank you. That's beautiful.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. right? Open arms and open minds.
That is amazing.
That welcoming feeling, though, like, you know, it's important. Yeah.
Right.
Mhm. Yeah, thank you. And if this is something that, like I said earlier, that could become a possible trend, I don't really like to use that word, but that kind of is what happens now. Things catch on. I just think the world would just be such a better place. And it makes my heart warm just thinking about, you know, another church asking me to speak or asking Justin to
Right.
speak based on what they've heard about this. I just really hope that that's what happens, and just thankful for today. So thank you all for, go ahead. Yes. Because it's normal to them. It would seem wrong for them just to hate someone just because they're not the same. And I mean, yeah.
And I think that's the scary thing too, because obviously life has gotten a lot better for me. I have so much support. I have friends. I have family, and that you mentioned it just was like ding 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 ding. Was you have two dads, Haley. Taylor, you have two dads, right? So they started getting a little teased and picked on at first, but again, that school has provided nothing but resources and tools and making it also a safe place that it was kind of squashed. And all of our children's friends they're the best kids ever. They come over, our garden is filled with rainbow rocks, and Haley has done all the flags like I mentioned and the trans colors, and it's nice for people that want to come to our home that it's welcome to everyone. And because of our young ones, they're the ones that make it even more welcoming because they educate me as well. So, love is love.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. I'll have to call and find out. But conversations, whether are good to have, the conversations being started, whether, you know, people aren't where they are. I mean, like I said, when I was younger, I wasn't the best kid, and I was a little bit bullied. But as I grew up, I learned things, and it made me go, well, why would I be so ignorant to do this? And you keep learning, and I believe people are never too old to learn new things.
Right.
So I hope it's 100% as well. I think the Old Testament, as most of us know, is pretty not something we can really follow anymore. Yeah. Mhm. Mhm. For sure. Very strict. It does. It generates a lot of conversations too, but conversations are great because if we have these conversations, then we learn. Yeah. Yes. I wanted to let you two know, like, I know there's the 2S LGBTQIA. There's so many different ways to say it. I want to let you know it's okay if you say rainbow community. We know who you're talking about. So if you just want to say, because I just want to let people know, and I mean, I'm not in charge of the gay people, but I am a representative, and you can say rainbow. I think it should be inclusive and easy for everyone. So I think rainbow community covers who we are. I've always thought the rainbow covers it. So I just wanted to let everybody know. It's really hard to try to say the whole alphabet. We were trained one way to say it, and now, so, yeah.
If I don't know, to be honest with you, I wouldn't know how to say 2S LGBTQIA+ if it wasn't for your song, but you...
And I taught it in a song.
And I learned, and it's because I sing it in my head, but people are like, oh, but at the same time, it's the rainbow as well, which is...
It covers everything.
Instead of feeling like, oh, I don't know, it's just right to the point.
I have people that won't say what we are based on getting it wrong. And I think that that's nice because they're not trying to just throw out a bunch of letters. But I just think it's like more inclusive if it's
Right.
something everyone can say, including kids. And so that's just something I'm trying to start and pass it around. Is there any more questions? I think you had something. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Oh, no, you're okay.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There are little teachers running around everywhere, just teaching everybody everything they've learned. I think it's amazing how some kids, I mean, I know obviously not all kids are perfect, but that does have a lot to do with how they're raised and things like that. But I do believe that the next generation, with its faults, because we all have them, is really going to open up a lot of minds. Yes, Sherry. Yeah. We'll come back anytime too. If there's more people that want to come, like, let us know. Niagara needs more love. Yes. I would love that. Thank you. And thank you, if anybody else has questions. If not, thank you for everybody that did participate. Really appreciate. Oh, go ahead.
Right.
It's glad that you kept it on it, though. 10 years is a long time, but you kept on it. Like, that takes a lot. I know of Silver Spire, I think, in St. Catharines, and they believe they're, and some of the Anglican churches are really starting to come in. But this is, everyone knows who St. Andrews is.
Yes.
You are one of the most involved in community, helping homeless people, different things like that. So I think that you may have thought you guys were a little behind, but in my opinion, and my ear is pretty close to the floor, I would say that you're not behind. You're definitely, to me, pioneering something that could happen and be really great in Niagara Falls.
I found one of the things you said about the children. We were on our Zoom meeting talking about doing this, and somebody mentioned there was a new flag. And my granddaughter said, "It's okay, Grandma, I already ordered it, it will be here tomorrow." That's why we got the up-to-date flag.
Yeah.
The other one out.
So this is the more inclusive flag that came out. Yeah.
But the kids know that, and just hearing a little of the conversation, they jump right on it.
Right.
To make sure that we're all inclusive.
It's almost like the kids are, I don't want to say it, but they're walking around like, That's not the way we say it anymore. You know, that.
The little kids are the parents now. They know more than we do. And you're like, oh, how do you
They
go
will
on the
police
computer?
us. They police us.
I'll show you. And you're like, oh my God.
And I have the privilege of having both Fallon and Justin. I say, Sarah, I'm the grandma.
You know, I don't have any grandmas anymore, so thank you.
They're friends with both my son and my daughter-in-law, and they see them a lot, and they know them probably better than I know my own kids. But we just feel very close to them, that they've welcomed everybody, and they've really helped a lot of people in the community. And so, as a thank you from St. Andrews, we'd just like to present you with a little something to help you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we'd like to just thank you for coming
Appreciate
here,
this.
being part of this, and knowing how much we love.
Oh.
Darlene, thank you.
I try not to cry.
I wanna
Happy
say
tears.
something. So I didn't tell you this, but you know how I told you this was kind of full circle for me with what I told you. I know that you lost 2 of your sons. I didn't know I didn't know Kenny very well, but I knew Keith. And so when we talked on the phone, I felt like I didn't know if I wanted to tell you that yet, because I felt like this is really meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I started talking to her son, I said, hey, I knew your brother. And he was like, whoa. And then I meet you, and I just think it was supposed to happen. And I'm just so glad everybody was a part of this. So thank you so much. So much love in here. I can feel it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hug.
So help yourself to more coffee.